So, like a lot of people, I bought this book on the recommendation of Zach. Also, like a lot of people, I kind of grew up in that time of Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane, where comic books, what really drew me in was that comic book art. So, even though I'd seen Narwhal around and I'd heard all the praise, even though this looks cool, it didn't really sell me on buying the book. I guess I just needed something else, something more. And after Zach mentioned it and said he loved it, I've a lot of the same books that he loves are the same ones that I loved when I was younger. So I thought, well, if he likes it, I should definitely give it a look. And I didn't want to miss out, so I jumped onto it straight away, and I'm really glad that I did. It's a different kind of book. If you ever see Narwhal on live streams or on his YouTube channel, he's a different kind of guy. He's got his own personality. He's unusual fellow. When we first saw him, he had a weird mask on, and that it really is encapsulated in his work, in his writing especially, and in his art too. It's unusual, it's unexpected, but it's also really refreshing. It's really enjoyable both to read the dialogue and to see the art. You know, you probably would call it a naive style, but at the same time, I don't know if you ever seen that graph. It goes like this. It starts down here, it goes up, then it flattens out, then up, and then flattens out. And it's about how the more you learn about a skill, the more you understand about that skill. So you, as an artist, you're here, you start here, everything looks amazing. And then you improve as an artist, and all of a sudden, the things that looked amazing before, you're starting to see the faults in. And you're also starting to see the faults in your own work as well. And there's a plateau of time where you're just in this place where you're realizing more about what makes art good, and also trying to improve. And it's hard to get up again, to get going again. So having been an artist for many years now, I'm able to, in so many of these pages, which is really just, as you can see, it's really simple, very simply drawn characters with flat colors. When I say flat, I mean not much shading. I don't mean the colors are dull. He uses lighting in a very cinematic way. Yeah, so as an artist, I can recognize that there's actually a high level of complexity in the composition, the storytelling, and the gesture of the artwork. The cinematography, for a better word. And I think from what I know about Narwhal, he kind of comes from that film background, and that really is obvious in this book. It does, like he suggests, feel a bit more like a movie, a bit less like a comic. And that's a good thing. I think we should have more unique, different approaches to comic book making. It shouldn't all be focused on what's happened before. Narwhal takes his time with the story. There's a lot of panels of just moments where an expression changes from one thing to the other, and it's really immersive. It really pulls you into the world. You're not just jumping from panel to panel in a really breakneck speed. And I think that style of that breakneck speed of storytelling comes from the old periodical, monthly floppies where you have to tell as much story as possible. Narwhal's got a completely different approach, and it's a completely different era. We're crowdfunding these books. They're coming out once or twice a year. They're bigger packages. You can get more in depth to it. I suppose an analogy might be In the 90s when it was all free-to-air television, some people had cable, but most of it was on free-to-air, and shows would come out and it was all that breakneck speed, get as much in, get out, because time is so valuable. Whereas now you can slow down. Netflix came out, all the streaming shows came out, and the stories have slowed down. People are going more into depth with characters, and I think being more creative, exploring ways of storytelling. And that's what's going on here. So the way he's structured the book is he drops you right into the action. There's no or very little, if any, exposition. Any kind of world building happens very fluidly, very realistically. Characters don't info dump. Smartly, you'll have characters who need to understand something and they'll come into the story, and another little bit of info about the world is passed on in that way, which is a really clever way to do it. I really like it. I employ it in my own work. I don't enjoy too much backstory exposition stuff. I like the mystery to be peeled away slowly as the story progresses. It's actually amazing how cute, this is Julia, it's actually amazing how cute he can make her with just so little lines, and how much character he can capture in all the different, how much, personality and emotion and all that stuff he can capture in each of these characters with so few lines and such simple artwork. It really is something that's really unique. The story itself is like a high school space adventure. It's must have been pretty impossible for him to pitch because it doesn't fit easily into any genre. It's not easy to explain. I'm kind of at a loss of words now. You've got people from other planets who come to Earth. Earth is considered this kind of boring, backwards place. And there's this, from what I'm gleaming from the story, there's this intergalactic, I guess you would call them kind of overlords. They're called sponsors. And everyone is pretty much enslaved in a sense that they are forced to work for their favor. Overall, I just think it's something that's pretty special. I like the way that you don't quite know who the bad guys and good guys are all the time. It's morally ambiguous in that way, which makes it, again, unique. It's a different way of telling a story, but it's also not just haphazard. There is storytelling structure going on here. It really works. It's it's a breeze to read. It's a lot of fun. It left me kind of lying there with my eyes open, staring up at the ceiling for a good 20 minutes after I was just trying to digest what I'd read. So it's absolutely a recommend. I know he's got another campaign going on that's called Foreign Agent. I'm definitely going to back that now. This has got me really interested in Narwhal's writing and his style. It looks like he's not quite trying to make ongoing stories, ongoing franchises. He's more about kind of these one-off small universes kind of stories. And that's great as well. We've got all kinds of people making all kinds of comics in this whole thing. So yeah, can't recommend enough. Grab it when you can. Get whatever you can of Narwhal's. A real emerging talent. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye.
Hi, I'm Michael Bancroft, writer and artist of The Lucent. Going on 5 years now, I've been passionately working on my magnum opus, a fantasy graphic novel that blurs the line between dreams and reality. My first book in the series, Waking Dream, introduces readers to the mysterious world of the Lucent, a place that on the surface looks not too dissimilar from the world you know, but where nothing is quite as it seems. It's a place where powerful enemies hide in plain sight, fighting ancient battles for control of the future. Here we meet Ella Forsyth, a young woman who by all accounts appears to be living a low-key life. But in her dreams, she's hiding a secret with the power to turn everything we know upside down. Sign up now to be notified by email when this campaign goes live, and you'll receive an exclusive postcard if you go on to back the book. For regular updates, follow me on Twitter at @TheLucentComic. Together, we can create something that's truly memorable. See you at launch.